Joining us on the line, my friend Dan Bongino, host of the Dan Bongino Show. Dan is at the RNC. So let me just start with this. Dan, it must be unbelievable to be there. I've never seen a unity conference quite like this one. What are you making of the RNC so far?
Yeah, I mean, Ben, I don't think there's any objective person who would say otherwise. Former President Trump's been on a roll. We had the debate performance, the Jack Smith, Eileen Cannon decision. You had the Biden follow-up dreadful interviews with Lester Holt and others, which just compounded a bad situation. And then you had, an obvious tragedy. I think that's fairly obvious. He was almost killed. But not only does he survive an attempted assassination attempt, Ben, but he gets up and delivers one of the most iconic photos in American political history, telling the crowd to fight that even liberals had to acknowledge. I think one of them is afraid it's a free campaign ad. And you're seeing that. We've been here since Monday. Monday was a little slow. Tuesday, it was electric when he walked in. But there's a different energy here. It was weird. And, the 2020 virtual kind of RNC mix mash they had, there was almost a depression around the country with COVID and everything. But there's nothing like that here now. I mean, the energy really, I know these things get to be tropes and stuff, but it really is. You can almost feel it. It's palpable.
So, Dan, obviously, your background as a Secret Service agent comes into play in everything that you saw with regard to that assassination attempt. I mean, I've been saying on the air since Saturday that the hand of God is on President Trump. I mean, there's literally no other way to read the fact that he's alive today. And we played a graphic earlier on in the show showing the fact that if Trump does not turn his head at literally the last second, he's dead. I mean, his head is turned to mist in front of a national television audience. But the real question is, how did the Secret Service fail this badly? We've now had the head of the Secret Service acknowledge that they didn't have a person on the roof because it was, quote unquote, too sloped. I've looked at that roof. I'd put my kids on that roof. I mean, that is not a Also, right. I wasn't aware that OSHA violations were the chief concern of the Secret Service. Oh my God, somebody might slip and bruise their knee or something. And then we've heard also that there are Secret Service rules in place that suggest that they're not allowed to take a shot at a potential shooter until after the shooter takes a shot because they wouldn't want to kill some innocent person with a telescope lying down on a roof 150 meters away from the president of the United States. Can you go through sort of the litany of failures here and what exactly happened?
Yeah, let's do them in reverse. So your first point, I saw that making its way around social media. Rules of engagement indicate the shooter has to fire first. Ben, the rules of engagement for counter-sniper uniform division Secret Service officers are absolutely no different than they are for pretty much any law enforcement officer across the country. You're a lawyer. The rules are this. If you can reasonably assume that this person is trying to cause a serious physical injury or death to another, you are allowed to use lethal force to stop said threat, period. That is the generic kind of bird's eye view of just about every rules of engagement law enforcement policy across the country. So I ask it to all these people, I said, really? So you're suggesting a guy on a roof who's not law enforcement with a rifle scoped in with his finger on the trigger is not prepared to cause serious physical injury or death while it's pointed at the president? That's an obscenity so dumb that I'm sure a lawyer like yourself looked at it and was like, okay, this is just stupid. So let's discredit that immediately.
We'll get to more on this in a second. First, when I'm on the road, I have my security team with me at all times. That keeps me physically safe from potential danger. That's not enough. I have to make sure I'm safe from hackers and cyber criminals. I use ExpressVPN for that. When you're using any sort of public Wi-Fi, like cafe, hotel, or airport, you never know if that Wi-Fi is secure or even whether your connection is being censored, like if you're abroad in a country like, God forbid, Russia or China. For situations like this, I use ExpressVPN because it reroutes my internet connection to stop third parties like Wi-Fi admins or government agencies from spying on my internet activity. It also encrypts 100% of my private data, like my bank logins and credit card info, from Wi-Fi hackers. ExpressVPN is the only VPN provider I trust and recommend. Plus, it's incredibly easy to use. You just tap one button and you connect on any device. If you want to get serious about online security, sign up right now at expressvpn.com/Ben Shapiro Show. You'll receive 3 extra months absolutely free. Again, that's expressvpn.com/Ben Shapiro Show. expressvpn.com/Ben Shapiro Show to protect your data today. Again, that's expressvpn.com/Ben Shapiro Show and protect your data the way that I do. expressvpn.com/Ben Shapiro Show.
On the roof thing, I'll break some news on your show. I kind of touched on it last night. I was doing a podcast, but I'll be a little more thorough with you guys. This is from an unimpeachable source. I have a number of people feeding me information in the Secret Service. And Ben, I'm going to tell you something. I'm not defending or anybody. I'm not anybody's spokesperson. The agents I'm talking to, and there are many, are they are overwhelmingly saying the same thing. This is a colossal apocalyptic embarrassment to an agency I was proud of. There is no one defending this thing. But one of them fed to me last night, and if this pans out to be true, and I have no reason to believe it isn't based on who told me this, that was supposed to be a local police department counter sniper post. There were 2 USSS Secret Service counter sniper teams. That was supposed to be an additional one. Apparently, for some reason, I don't care to speculate on, it's not what I do, that post never showed up. Now, this is why you had in the beginning that statement, I don't know if you remember it, but it was from a few days ago, where the Secret Service spokesperson appeared to pawn the blame off on the locals. That's what that was about. Now, even if that is the case, which I believe it is based on my sources, say this post did not show up. Now you know what happens when you lie, Ben? Again, being a lawyer, you know how this is with clients. They forget their own lies. So first they tried to blame it on the local PD. And then when they got backlash on that, they said, oh, it was the slope of the roof. And now that they're getting backlash on that, they don't know what to do. They don't want to tell the truth that they just never checked the post, that he showed up, and the post didn't. So now they're burying themselves. So I'm hearing also, this is point number 2. Again, I think this is the first time we're saying it in detail on the show, that there are very strict orders coming from the Biden White House and the DHS to the Secret Service director to basically shut her mouth about this, or she's out. And that's why you've seen Mayorkas so vigorously defend this failed Secret Service director on video, because he basically knows she has all the cookies in the cookie jar, and there's no excuse for that. So that's all your points, Tristan. And one more thing, Ben, I just want to throw in that you didn't ask, but I'll just volunteer. Is, the golden rule of Secret Service protection, or any EP, executive protection for that matter, is when a threat presents itself, you get off the X. The X is where that protectee is standing or is in a car. A vehicle gets stopped and they start firing at it with RPGs. You get the hell off the X. Cover and evacuate. That is rule number 1. It's Charlie Brown Encyclopedia EP executive protection. Why was he even on the X in the first place? The guy was using a rangefinder at 5:41 p.m. Trump didn't walk on stage till 6. They have a holding room, Ben, at every site. It's called the holding room for a reason. It's a very sophisticated thing, Ben. Get ready. You know why? Because they hold the president there when something's amiss. Why was he not in the holding room? Why did you let him walk on stage with an open threat? This is absurd. I mean, the catastrophic failures in judgment here are legion. And it's hard for me, as a guy who's very proud of this agency and what I did there, to digest this all.
Are you tired of the lies and the twist of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah, me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.